Frankie, what's up? Frankie says, what's up, guys? Much love from you guys from Miami Beach. Oh, he's down there where it's warm. My question is, when hiring VAs, how do you keep track of their hours? I'm in the midst of hiring VA 40-hour a week and curious how you guys do the billing and tracking. In the event that you don't keep track of their hours, time doctor, etc., then how do you make sure they are working full time and not BSing half the time? Okay, so that's a really good question, Frankie. There are some really good time tracking apps like what you're talking about. Time Doctor's one. Another one, Chris P., one of my partners, mentioned. I haven't used it, though. It's called Hubstaff, I think. Hubstaff.com, maybe. You could look it up. But yeah, something like that is a great way to do it, especially to start with, guys. Now, I typically don't monitor my VAs like that because I work very closely with the VAs that I train initially, because especially now, because I'm teaching my VAs like more complex procedures, so they're working a lot more in direct contact with me on a daily basis, at least initially while they're getting trained. And then because I'm familiar with because usually I, create all the process docs that I train and the process docs and training videos that I train my VAs with. It's usually directly from me, right? And so I understand about what, how long it takes to complete the task that I'm giving to them because I've done it myself in order to create the training, right? And so, obviously I give them leeway up front while they're going through the training and learning the procedure. I give them leeway. In other words, I allow them a lot more time than what it takes me. But then after they training, which for us, Semantic Mastery, whenever we hire a VA for full time, they go on salary, but we pay them 75% of their salary for the first 30 days because they're in training. And then, provided that and that's also a probationary period. At the end of that 30 days, if they, performed well and and I was satisfied with their work and that kind of stuff, then they go up to their full salary. And then typically by then I just assign them tasks. And if the tasks, if the tasks aren't being completed in a timely manner, then I'll question what they're doing. And if they can't give me a good reason or a believable reason as to what's taking them so long, like present me with some problems that they're running into, process issues or software or application issues or whatever the case may be, if they can't present me with something that's believable and a valid excuse, then that's when, they go on probation again, or they'll potentially at that point, I would add them to a time tracking app, or they just flat out get fired if I catch them in a lie or whatever. And that happens from time to time. But personally, for the teams that I manage, I typically do not track using time tracking software. I did when I first got started, guys, but I've gotten really proficient at managing VAs. So I don't really see that as for me personally necessary. But again, I do recommend, especially if you're just starting to outsource, guys, that you use something like a time tracking app. Time Doctor is a good one.
I can tell you how it's being done in mgyb.co.
Okay.
Because we got a bunch of them. And so it's now mandatory for them to be on from 10 p.m. to midnight their time, which makes it convenient Eastern time and my time, so that we can communicate. We need to know the task, what they're up to, what they're doing, what they've done, any problems, anything, right? Because they're constantly going into MGYB, fulfilling. So there's a lot of client involvement. Rosale needs to know, Justin needs to know, Chrissy needs. So there's a whole lot of communication that takes place that Rob and I, or Rob or I, need to see. And then we also have a project manager. She's the one that's just hands-on, just moving all of the pieces around, so that now Rob and I only get the higher level stuff that can't be solved by our project manager. When they come on, they go on 90 days probation, and they have to know that they're going to get, as Brady said, 75% while they're training. After the first 30 days, they go into their full salary, but they're still on probation.
Yes, correct.
And they're being tracked. We have work snaps, it's called worksnaps.net, which works really well because they have to be there to click right on and take that screen grab. They have to be there. They have to be present at the computer, and then we'll know what it is that they're doing. Now, after the probationary period, what happens is then they go on a split shift, which means 6 hours they have to work whenever they want, as long as they clear it with the project manager. But they have to work the 6 hours. Once we know that we can trust them and we can give them enough work, and you're right about that, you have to give them enough work that it's going to fill up their time. And so we know we're doing that. We have the project manager that's on top of everything during the day in the Philippines especially. And so she's giving them assignments, and if there's anything going on, then we have the reports. I mean, we just have a whole system in place so that we track whether our VAs now are being as productive as possible. Now, here's another thing. If you have a rock star that's producing whatever it is that you need produced, and you're making a whole bunch of money with that VA's help, then is it worth tracking that VA? I would say hell no. I mean, by all means, do whatever the fuck you want to do and keep making me money. Where you run into issues is if you're not getting the work that you expect completed. If you are, and it's just superstar work, and that's your rock star, that's your future team manager, team lead, project lead, whatever the hell you want to make that VA, that's where that comes from, because then they know your business, they know what you're doing, and they can train other people for you. So that's how we do it at MGYB. We always promote from within, I mean, whenever possible, and pay them well, Frankie. Give them raises. Yeah. Praise them. Say, you guys rock. You guys are the best. You're doing great work. Because, I mean, think about how badly many of these people are treated. Just a kind word is going to get them to just totally loyal and just totally working for you the way that they're supposed to.
Yeah, I just want to, I'm pulling something up just quickly because I'm not going to share, I mean, I'm not going to read this and stuff to you guys, but damn it, come on. So this is one of my VAs, Hazel here. She's on my GMB team, and so there you see this long post she just sent, guys. That was just a couple of weeks ago now. And anyways, the Reader's Digest version of that post that she sent me in Slack was she was just saying how appreciative she is of the fact that she gets to work from home. She's in the Philippines and she lives in a rural town. And in that post, she was talking about how appreciative she is of the fact that she's able to work from home and provide for her family. And she's been working with me for like 3 years now. Again, I've only got 2 people on my GMB asset building team right now, Joe and Hazel, and they're both rock stars. And so anyways, Hazel posted that to tell me how appreciative she is of the fact that she gets to work from home. And because most of the jobs, the economic opportunities in the Philippines are centered around the cities. That makes sense. There's a lot of that in the United States too, right? So most of the jobs and everything are available in the cities, and in the rural areas, there's very little work. And so there's a lot of poverty and there's not very much opportunity. And so she said she was basically asking, she's a very ambitious girl, which is great. I love it when a VA has ambitions to climb the ladder, right? Because think about it. We've got a lot of VAs that all they want to do is show up to work every day, be told what to do, and go home and collect their checks. And that's perfectly fine. Those are very valuable assets as well. But every now and then you'll get a VA that wants to grow their business and wants to expand and increase their knowledge and take on more responsibility. And so what she did was she posted and said, hey, look, I want to create my own company in the Philippines and offer a virtual staffing services. She wants to create a company and provide job opportunities to people that live in her rural town because they can work remotely. And because of Semantic Mastery and all the stuff that, we're building with MGYB and everything that we do for our own businesses, guys, we're turning into processes and outsourcing it so that first of all, so we don't have to do it anymore. But then second of all, so that we can also provide you guys with the same services that we use for our own businesses, right? And so she basically reached out and said, look, I'd like to create my own company and hire virtual assistants right here in my local town to where they show up to an office space. She's going to start it in her own home. She's got an extra room in her home. She's going to start it there. And then as it grows, she wants to move into an office space. And she was saying, because we can provide, because of her job with us, Semantic Mastery, she knows that there's opportunities for other people in her town that don't have much opportunity to also work. And she says she's had a lot of family and friends ask her like, hey, is there any opportunity to work for the company you work for? So that's why she reached out to say, hey, is there any opportunity for expansion? If so, I can provide the workers for you. And so I was like, I was so proud of her, and I sent her a message, and we ended up having a Skype, a Slack chat appointment or meeting earlier this week on Monday to discuss. And it worked out. Like, I'm so proud of her because she's not only been really good VA anyways, but because she wants to grow and she wants to provide opportunity to people in her area. And for us as a company, it's a great, it's very promising because I found that, me personally managing VAs, other than when I'm working with them really closely, like I am right now, when it comes to managing a team, that's more difficult to do remotely, in my opinion. At least for me, it is. I'm not the best manager in the world, okay? But having a team that she can manage in person, be in the same room with them to help with any issues, to help with training, all that kind of stuff, to also just monitor their activity, that's a much better way to manage a team, especially at least initially, in my opinion. And so she'll be able to handle the management aspects that I would typically be doing as a remotely. She'll be able to do that in person. So anyways, we're pursuing it with her. And I think it's just really, really great. And that's what, guys, when you have VAs that are good VAs, and you're going to have some that are good and you're going to have some that are bad. The ones that are good, make sure do exactly what Marco just mentioned, and that's treat them well. Give them raises, praise them often, encourage them, because that will help them to become better workers for you, and it will improve the quality of their life too, right? So absolutely do that, guys. We've got VAs that have been working for us for years. I've got stories I told at the POFU Live event about VAs, and some of the messages or letters that I've received from VAs that are talking about how much it's improved their quality of life and blah blah blah, like the opportunities it's provided for their family and that kind of stuff, guys. So we really are doing a service. All of us are. We're all entrepreneurs, right? So we're providing a service and enriching other people's lives when we do that, when we offer jobs, right?
Talking about a VA getting to POFU, Dedia attended POFU Live.
Yep. And Dedia is our link building manager and has been for, he doesn't work for us anymore. Like, he's not on salary. He's a contractor. He owns his own company now, which was amazing. He's one of my favorite stories of all time. He came to work for me as he had a full-time job, and he was working as a freelancer on Upwork as part-time, like moonlighting, doing link building. And we're talking 5 or 6 years ago now. And I hired him part-time. And then over time, my workload increased. Like, I kept giving him more and more work. And eventually he approached me and asked me, hey, would you hire me full-time so I can quit my job and work from home? And at the time, I wasn't ready to pay somebody, a link builder, full-time. But I did it anyways because I had a really good feeling about Dedia. He was just great to work with and blah, blah, blah. So I did. I said, okay, yeah. And even though, like I said, it was painful for me at the time, I gave him a full-time job. And within just a couple of years, when we opened up Semantic Mastery, and then we started selling links on our own first, and then we went to SERP Space and blah, so on and so forth, he ended up growing his own company and bought a house. And now he's not even on salary with us anymore because he's a contractor and his business is thriving. And he came to the POFU Live event all the way from India. I mean, that's crazy, guys. Like, it's just amazing. Like, and some of the stories that he's told about over the years is just great. So that's what, you guys, it really is important. Like, we, as business owners, we offer opportunities. Like, we hire people first to help us, right? But at the same time, it's to help them and help their families and everybody around them as well. So it's a great question, Frankie. Thank you for that.